I'm here with the doctor because I'm still sick, and I just wanted him to reiterate what he just said.
Okay. Hello, whoever you all are.
Get closer. Yes.
So there is an emerging problem that we're having in society all over the world, actually, and it's called chemtrail lung. There are more and more respiratory conditions that are showing up because of the toxic chemicals, heavy metals, gases, virus particles, and other things that are being sprayed across the atmosphere. Especially in this area, because Palmdale Airport is a source of a lot of top secret activity that takes place. And there's also a lot of still breathing of fracking gases from Porter Ranch and the other surrounding areas.
That's right, that big, yeah.
And also because of the topography of the way the Santa Ana winds blow in this area.
Right.
And on top of all of that, the smog. And on top of all of that, what we see, what we know about the amount of inhalation of mold and mildew in the walls of the buildings and things of this sort.
That's true.
So the combination of all of these things, plus the overuse of antibiotics.
Overuse of antibiotics.
Plus being in the cold and the flu season in general.
And how do you feel about the flu shot? I mean, I did not get one, and I won't ever get one. I don't believe in them. I know some people do. How do you feel about the flu shot?
I don't recommend it in general.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few categories of people who are most appropriate for getting them, but not even then, not every year, because so much of the time the true effectiveness and efficacy of flu shots is very, very low, and it's not necessarily that it's a benefit. It's a public health policy issue, but it is not necessarily a physiologic benefit to the patients.
Even though they want you to get one, and they say, "Oh, come on in to get your flu shot, get your flu shot." They encourage it, but at the same time, it could be a different strain that's coming about, so it could actually make it worse.
Yeah, well, we've been dealing with sub 30%, sometimes even sub 20% effectiveness of flu vaccines in recent years, 20%. And it's a guess. It's a guess as to what may be needed in the composition of a flu vaccine in order to get it ready for distribution, and then most of the time we miss more than we hit. So it's not something that as a public health specialist, as well as a primary care specialist and all that, I routinely recommend. I know that there's policies there, and I know that there's something called best practices.
Right.
But if you look at it more in general...
He said best practices, not breast practices. That's different. It's a whole other show.
So if you look at it in terms of what else people can be doing, there's a whole lot more that people can do to improve their health from a prevention point of view, and from a detoxing point of view, and from a proactive health orientation.
Be proactive, right.
As opposed to just simply relying on getting the vaccinations.
And there was somebody that was found in the Mississippi River who stood up in Atlanta. He stood up for not getting the flu shot, and he ended up disappearing. Well, actually, no, his body was found. So, we got to stop. Are you giving me the stop?
Wrap it up.
Okay, wrap it up. Okay. Anyway, chemtrail lung. I'm just saying. You can end it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. No president should fear public scrutiny of his program, for from that scrutiny comes understanding, and from that understanding comes support or opposition, and both are necessary. I am not asking your newspapers to support an administration, but I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people. For I have complete confidence in the response and dedication of our citizens whenever they are fully informed. I not only could not stifle controversy among your readers, I welcome it. This administration intends to be candid about its errors. For as a wise man once said, an error doesn't become a mistake until you refuse to correct it. We intend to accept full responsibility for our errors, and we expect you to point them out when we miss them. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive. That is why the Athenian lawmaker Solon decreed it a crime for any citizen to shrink from controversy. And that is why our press was protected by the First Amendment, the only business in America specifically protected by the Constitution, not primarily to amuse and entertain, not to emphasize the trivial